If you've been anywhere near a gas station lately, you've probably noticed something pretty great. Gas prices are down. Across the U.S., we're seeing the national average hovering around $3.03 to $3.08 a gallon. That's a significant drop compared to just a few weeks or months ago. And if you happen to be in Massachusetts, you're enjoying an even lower average of $2.99 per gallon this week. Remember last year when the national average was a painful $3.39? Well, hold on to that feeling of relief because we're going to take a deep dive into what's driving these lower prices and what it all means. And if you find this deep dive valuable, don't forget to like and subscribe. One of the biggest factors behind this welcome decrease is the falling cost of crude oil. We often hear about West Texas Intermediate crude oil, and that's because it's a key benchmark for pricing. Over the past month, the average price for WTI has been around $69.26. This decrease in crude oil prices directly impacts what we pay at the pump, but it's not just about oil. The global economy is a complex system, and right now there's a lot of uncertainty in the air. This economic uncertainty is actually having a ripple effect on gas prices. Some experts are even suggesting that these lower gas prices could be a sign of a potential economic slowdown. Think about it, if businesses are worried about the future, they might cut back on production and transportation, which means less demand for fuel, and less demand often leads to lower prices. Another piece of the puzzle is the ongoing conversation about tariffs, especially those related to trade policies. You see, the uncertainty surrounding tariffs is also influencing gas prices. Tariffs can have a real impact on economic growth, and that, in turn, affects the demand for oil, like a chain reaction. Tariffs can slow down economic growth, leading to decreased demand for goods and services, including transportation, which relies heavily on oil. So even though it might not seem obvious at first, those discussions about trade policies are playing a role in what you're seeing at the gas pump. And there's OPEC, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries. They recently made the decision to restore oil production, and that's putting downward pressure on oil prices globally. It's a delicate balance. OPEC countries need to manage production levels to maintain a price that's profitable for them, while also considering the global demand for oil. Let's hear from some industry experts to get a better grasp on these complex dynamics. Patrick DeHaan from GasBuddy points to the uncertainty around tariffs as a significant factor keeping prices lower for now. He believes that until those trade policies are settled, we can expect this uncertainty to continue to impact the energy market. Meanwhile, Mark Shieldrop from AAA Northeast emphasizes the lower cost of crude oil as a major force pushing down gas prices. He suggested if crude oil prices remain stable or continue to decline, we could see gas prices remain relatively low in the near future. You might be thinking, wait a minute, isn't spring just around the corner? Don't gas prices usually go up as the weather gets warmer? You're absolutely right. That's the typical seasonal trend. As temperatures rise, people tend to drive more, taking those long-awaited road trips and vacations. This increased demand usually pushes gas prices up. But here's the interesting thing. The typical seasonal rise hasn't really materialized yet, and experts believe it might be less pronounced this year, perhaps due to those economic factors we discussed earlier. People might be hesitant to hit the road as much if they're worried about a potential economic slowdown. Of course, gas prices aren't uniform across the country. Right now, the cheapest gas can be found in Mississippi, Tennessee, and Louisiana. On the other hand, if you're filling up in California, Hawaii, or Washington, you're going to be paying the highest prices at the pump. It's a good reminder that even within the U.S., there are regional variations in supply-demand and taxes that all contribute to the price you see at your local gas station. And it's not just gasoline that's seeing a dip. The national average price of diesel gas has also fallen recently. This recent drop in gas prices reminds us of a similar situation back in March 2021. Back then, we saw gas prices plummet mainly due to decreased travel demand during the COVID-19 pandemic. It's interesting to see how historical events can sometimes echo in the present, and it highlights just how interconnected the energy market is with global events and economic trends. So we looked at the factors driving gas prices down, but what's next? Will this trend continue, or are we headed for another price hike? Well, while we're enjoying this period of lower prices, some experts are already predicting a potential increase in the future. They suggest that even though we might not see a dramatic surge like we have in the past, that familiar seasonal spring increase could still be on the horizon. It's a reminder that the world of gas prices is constantly influenced by a complex interplay of factors. And it makes you wonder, if gas prices are so closely tied to economic uncertainty, what does that say about us, the consumers? Do we so cautiously change our driving habits, maybe shorten those road trips, or adjust our overall spending based on the numbers we see at the pump? It's a fascinating question that goes beyond simple economics. We're diving deep into the world of gas prices, and if you're finding this deep dive helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. As we wrap up this deep dive into the dynamics of gas prices, we're left with even more questions than answers. Will those predicted spring increases actually happen, or will other unexpected events come into play? More importantly, what can we learn from these price fluctuations? How do they reflect the larger economic currents shaping our world, and how do they impact our daily lives? These are questions worth pondering, and we encourage you to continue exploring them. After all, the journey of understanding is never truly over. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. If you enjoyed this exploration, please like and subscribe to our channel for more insightful content. Until next time, keep those minds curious and those gas tanks full.